All right, guys, I'm Shawn Cheek of webpianoteacher.com. How you doing? Lesson 2. So I assume you've done lesson 1 already on YouTube. So this is my sight reading boot camp, 100 lesson startup for your sight reading ability. So again, we're not memorizing pieces. Is what I always did as a kid. We'd get on something hard, memorize it, go to the next one, memorize it, and then you never play that one again. You move on to the next one. That does not help your sight reading one bit. In fact, it weakens it, and it makes you feel like you can't read music and you're stupid and I just can't do this. How do other people do it and I can't do it? You got to do the right things, okay? And the way we've been talking about in lesson 1, we're going to continue that today. Now, just because we're going to lesson 2 does not mean you're going to stop playing lesson 1. You are going to play every sheet every time you sit down. So when you start with lesson 1 with that first sheet, that's going to be not much time there. But as you have lesson 2, you're going to play lesson 1 and lesson 2. But it won't take so long because you've already learned lesson 1. You're going to amaze yourself how well you remember and each lesson, and you're able to keep adding and adding and adding, and you don't forget what you already did. You're not going to forget it if you do the way I'm telling you, and you're going to get better at reading, okay? So we're on lesson 2, but don't stop doing lesson 1. Do that as your warm-up, okay? So I'm going to assume you're going to hit pause here, play lesson 1 through, make sure you have it unless you've already done it today, and then we start lesson 2, okay? So don't neglect the first lesson. Do it, and here we are at lesson 2. When we get to lesson 3, I'm going to say, have you played lesson 1 and lesson 2? Then we'll do 3. We're going to keep adding, and you're going to be amazed how that's going to work for you. All right, so have you memorized C, D, E, F, G in both hands? Say it and play it. Did you do that? I want to add something now. And since we have technology today, in this day and age, we don't have to have flashcards. When I was a kid, we had flashcards, and we'd mix them up, put them up there, and we'd just play random notes and then mix them up, do it again. That was effective. But now we have these wonderful apps, and they're free on I have one. I can't remember what it's called. It's just a note sight reading flashcard app or something. But you just look at it and you click. It has the note and you click the key. Click, and you just keep going. It keeps going to the next note, and you can choose which notes you want to practice. Those apps are great. So I want that to be part of your practice time. Or you can just buy some old-fashioned flashcards if you want to do that. You can get those on Amazon, where you can hold something and just put it up on the piano. That's fine too. But you need to have something where you're practicing those flashcards, either in an app or actual flashcards. All right? So we want to do that. Only use the notes that we've done so far. We've only done 5 notes in the right, 5 notes in the left. Don't do any of the others yet till we add those, okay? So don't try to do all 20 or 30 notes in the flashcards. Just do the ones we've done thus far. Here we go, lesson 2. Yes, I know I talk a lot. Everybody tells me that. But I'll tell you what, talking a lot is better than not saying enough, because I want to make sure we cover everything and that you're set and you're going to learn this skill. Okay, so now that you've been saying it and playing it on the other song, we're going to try it on this one. So which hand starts? And I hope you said right hand. What's this called? This little curly Q S looking thing. It's called a treble clef. So I hope you remember that. Treble clef. What's this? What's the treble clef? Which hand plays treble clef? The right hand, the high hand. Which hand plays this? What's this called? What clef is that? That's the bass clef. Which hand plays it? The left. Okay, because the left's on the low side. So treble clef, bass clef. Remember the 5 lines and 4 spaces? What's that called? Staff, treble staff, bass staff. Remember what these are called, these lines. These are called bar lines. And what's each one of these called? A measure. Measure 1, measure 2, measure 3, 4, 5, 6. A measure, okay? How many counts are in each measure? I didn't put a time signature on that one. Whoops. Should have put 4, 4. 4 counts in a measure, okay? These are great. I wrote these a long time ago, but they're very effective, so I'll keep using them. All right, so we put our hand in C position. Can you find C and put your thumb on it? All right, we're ready to go. What note do we start with? Okay, we don't start with C, do we? What do we start with? Now, don't count up. Don't go, oh, C, D, E. Oh, you've messed it all up if you do that. If you count it from C, don't count it from C. No. know that it's an E because it's on that line all by itself, okay? Right? Know that it's an E because it's on that bottom line, not because you count up from C or count down from G, however your method is. Don't do that. Know that it's an E all by itself. Start on E. E's in the middle, right? E. What's the next one? D. Next one, middle C. C is easy because it's got that little ledger line. It's called a ledger line, that little short line. C. Next one's D. Already played it. Played it right there, didn't we? Now we have E and another E and another E. This is a well-known song for kids, so you may have already picked it out. How about those three? What are those? Those are D, D, D. Okay? In fact, what I'd like you to do before I go on anymore is to try this yourself. I kind of started you. Try to play the rest of the right hand down through measure 8. See if you can do it. Pause the video and then watch what I'm going to show you here. Okay, so you're back now. Here we go. We play up to measure 3. We're going to keep going. E, 2 G's. Okay. Yes, it is what we call a skip. A line to a line is a skip, or space to a space. But I really want you to know that that's a G without looking at your hand and without counting up. G, G. Keep going. E, D, C, D. E, E, E. All right? You probably recognize it now by now. D, D, E, D, C. 2, 3, 4. That's a whole note, right? The black notes are called quarter notes. The white notes with a stem are called half notes. They get half a count. All right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 in every measure. Okay, we can either have 4 quarter notes or 2 quarter notes and a half note or 1 whole note. It all equals 4. Okay, it's a little math there for you. Music is very mathematical. So how did you do on that? I hope that you could play them and say the note out loud and what it is, and without counting up, without having to guess. We don't want to guess. And again, do your app there where you pick, just do your range, C, D, E, F, G on the right hand. You can pick the range on there and then have it give you random notes, and you practice, and you just hit the keyboard on your iPad or iPhone of what note it is, and it'll really help. It's a little boring, yeah, but it'll really help you. I made my kids do it, and they don't have to do it anymore. So we don't do that forever. We just do it in the beginning so we really learn the notes. All right, so it's Mary Had a Little Lamb, right? Mary Had a Little Lamb. Let's move on. Okay, so we have left hands in the bass clef. Now, you get an extra 10 points credit if you can just look at that note and tell me what it is without counting up from C, without checking something, or, just know what it is. What letter is that? And it's not enough to know that it's here. I want you to know it's an E as well. E, okay? D, C, D, E, 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 D, 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 E, G, G. Some of you have really good ears and you're just going to play Mary Had a Little Lamb without reading the notes. Don't do that. Make your eyes follow. Use your ear. That's fine. That's great. But make your eyes follow the note that you're playing. Make it look at it. E, D, C, D, E, 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 D, D, E, D. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and 4. Oop, I didn't change to. There we go. Sorry about that. Let me play it again. D, C, D, E, 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 D, E, G, G, E, D, C, D, E, 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 D, D, E, E. 1, 2, 3, 4. That takes a little coordination to one hand to follow that and play with the other. All right. So Mary Had a Little Lamb, yes, I like to, use some well-known tunes sometimes. But the point is that you recognize the notes, the name of them, and where they are without looking at your hand, without counting up, and you know the name of them, okay? So doing those little apps or getting some flashcards. Just look up flashcards on Amazon if you want to have physical cards. Us old-timers, because I'm an old-timer now, We like to hold something. We like to hold a book instead of doing this. We want to have something in our hands. And I know the kids today don't really know that feeling. So I kind of, feel bad for them. But either way, you need to have something where you're having a flashcard where you're just having a random note come up and you have to name it. Because if you do it in a song that you recognize, you can use your ear to do it. Your ear will figure it out for you, and so you don't have to think about it. Or you'll just use some other method. But if it's a random note, then you really do have to think, what is it? What's the name of it? Say it, play it. Now, I hope you can play lesson 1 and lesson 2 back to back. Does not have to be perfect, okay? You don't have to be superstar on this. The point is quantity, not quality. So we want quantity. We want a lot of music, and the quality will come. There's times to work on quality, but if we work on quality too much now, we'll strangle our sight reading ability, okay? You need to continually see new music in front of you. That's why we're doing a new song every time. And if you were sitting on the piano bench next to me, I would push you forward to the next one. As soon as you could kind of play this, I would push you forward, push you out of the nest and make you play the next one instead of playing this one to death to where you memorize it, because then we're not sight reading at all. All right. Remember when you learned to type? Remember when you had a book and you would just type, F, 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 G, 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 whatever the letters were on the typewriter keyboard. But the idea is the same. You didn't look at your fingers, because you slow you down, right? You'd have your words per minute would go way down if you looked at your fingers. You look up and you constantly move and see new things. You don't type the same sentence over and over again, did you? No, because then your fingers would memorize the patterns. You continually type new sentences. The same thing on piano. Sight reading, it takes no musical talent whatsoever to learn to sight read, because it's just a matter of learning where the notes are on the staff and where they are on the keyboard. You could not be able to hear anything, but you could still learn that skill. All right, but it's necessary, so we need to make sure we do it. All right, so you can play lesson 1, lesson 2. I will see you in lesson 3, and we will continue.